Hi guys, you're listening to Sanditon Podcast, and we're a fan-created podcast about the masterpiece and Brit show Sanditon, and we're your hosts.
I am Michelle. I live in the States. You can find me at Musings on Instagram and Twitter.
And I'm Rita. I live in England, and I'm at Annoying Rita on Instagram and Twitter.
This week we will be discussing episode 4 of season 2, which premiered on PBS on the 10th of April this year. It was directed by Esther Hilton and written by Ellen Toller. Esther is our first director of color on the show and will be helming the last 3 episodes of season 2. She is an award-winning director of movie shorts that recently transitioned to TV last year when she directed 5 episodes of the British show Acting Bridge.
Good show. Maybe give it a go.
Yeah, okay.
The episode began... Oh wait, I need to say... We're going to do a recap now.
Yes.
Forgot about that bit. Okay, the episode began with the regiment out for a gallop on their horses. Captain Carter shares with Frasier that he's going to propose to Allison. Speaking of, she's out for a walk with her sister. Charlotte advises her caution when Allison starts waxing poetic about her hero captain. Gag me. Charlotte tells her that sometimes it can be hard to gain a sense of a man's true character. Projection much, Charlotte? She thought she had a handle on Colborne's character, but then Colonel Lennox threw a spanner in the works.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who will she trust? The dashing Colonel, Captain von Colborne? Let's find out!
Back at the Parker residence, Tom explains to Mary that he didn't manage to talk to Lennox about the money the army owes. Vibes were off, or whatever. He also fails to mention the 100-pound debt he now owes to the Colonel. Didn't he promise not to keep things from her in season 1?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Anyway, he says he will summon the Colonel and get him to settle his debts that very morning. We will not be holding our breath. Georgiana then barges into the house and announces that she's finally discovered what Sydney was doing in Antigua. Finally! So, apparently, a relative of her father's had challenged her right to the inheritance based on her, quote, moral character and that of her mother, end quote. Georgiana now fears more relatives will come out of the woodwork and try to sue for her money. Mary's solution to this blatant racism and misogyny is to suggest Georgiana proves them wrong by living a moral life beyond reproach.
Ugh, yeah, that'll work. Over at Sanditon House, the servants prepare for a grand party. In the chaos, Edward is able to slip in and bribe one of Lady Denham's footmen to steal Esther's letters from Lord Babington. Truly a new low for him.
Yeah.
Above stairs, Clara's still in the throes of her postpartum depression and cannot bear to soothe her crying child, instead preferring to pass him off to the nursemaid. Poor Martha!
Yes.
Poor little Martha. Lady Denham arrives and tells her that she has prepared the groundskeeper's cottage for her and the baby. And before you think this is an act of pure charity on her part, she explains she needs Clara out of the way before her annual garden party. Yes, we're having another annual event we didn't see last year. Truly on a roll.
Charlotte arrives at Hayrick Park. She finds Augusta in the drawing room playing the forbidden spinet, while Leo dances around her happily. Charlotte is anxious that they should not upset Mr. Colborne, but Augusta explains that it was his idea. He even had it tuned. Obviously, this leads to a Sound of Music scenario where Charlotte teaches the girls how to dance. Colborne tries to sneakily spy on them with a smile, but is spotted by Charlotte. She asks him to join them in their dance. We are so close to getting sued by whoever owns the rights to the movie. Colborne does a Darcy and refuses under any circumstances. We'll see about that one. PBS released stills of him dancing with Charlotte. La ha 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 ha. Colborne then announces to Augusta that they shall attend Lady Denham's garden party tomorrow. Small world, Charlotte is also attending. He even offers Augusta any pick of his late wife's gowns.
Charles is attempting to draw Georgiana. It's not going very well, as following Mary's little chat, she's now inhibited as fuck and prefers to stand stiffly rather than engage with Charles's artsy nonsense about bearing her soul. If you're worried she might bear more than her soul, then don't. She is being chaperoned by the delightful Miss Hawkins. And Hankins. Is it Hawkins or Hankins?
Hankins,
anyway,
I think. But
I wrote that down wrong.
We know who you're talking about.
Delightful as she may be, but conscious she is not. As the process takes so darn long, she falls asleep on a very comfy-looking armchair, allowing Charles the opportunity to grill Georgiana. Well, we can't have that, can we? Georgiana wakes Miss Hankins and storms out dramatically.
Yes.
We're going.
It's a flounce if I've ever seen one.
Esther comes to visit Clara at her damp cottage in the hidden part of the estate, and she comes bearing gifts for George. That's the name of the baby. Seeing how agitated Clara is around said baby, she offers to take him for a walk, and who should happen upon them but Edward?
Of course.
He does his creepy thing where he begs to see his child, and then when he learns it's a son, he becomes suspiciously pleased. Esther returns baby George back to the cottage and observes that Clara only ever holds him in front of Lady Denham, as if she's playing a role. By contrast, Esther is obsessed with the newborn and hovering over him in awe. Clara realises that Esther cannot have a baby and quite sincerely remarks how cruel fate can be.
Back at the regiment's camp, and brace yourself, Captain Frasier is shirtless, because that's how they roll at the camp. Everybody's running around shirtless.
It's very homoerotic in retrospect.
Yeah. Bizarrely, Captain Carter approaches him while he is in mid-wash to tell him that he has asked the colonel for permission to marry. Captain Frasier does not approve and reminds him of all the other girls he thought he was in love with in all those other towns. God, Wickham, a little bit, but stupider.
He's like an innocent fool. No, he doesn't have that Wickham vibe.
The main issue, however, is Captain Carter's lack of honesty, and no matter how much Frasier yells at him, he refuses to back down. In this respect, he and Allison are a perfect match. Meanwhile, Tom is showing a very unimpressed Colonel Lennox his plans for the new barracks, because why not beat this horse into the ground? Mercifully, he also mentions the debt the soldiers have accrued in town, but if you expected Lennox to do anything other than laugh it off, you haven't been paying attention.
Charlotte is helping Augusta try on one of her Aunt Lucy's old gowns. She reminisces about how elegant Lucy was and how she remembered this gown in particular from when she visited her mother and father in London. Interestingly enough, Mr. Colborne did not go with her very often. Note that down, everyone. Augusta fears she's not slender enough to fit into her dream dress, but Charlotte tells her not to fear. In the right undergarments, it will be perfect. Leo then approaches her, oh, this is so cute,
yes,
and gives her a great big bear hug. She says that if it's her mother's dress, then in a way it's like she's hugging her mother. Oh, I died.
I know.
Little Leo, you're so sweet.
Such a sweet child.
Time for the garden party, and Lady Denham inspects her decorated grounds and delights when she spots a truly gigantic 5-tiered cake with mountainous layers of royal icing and sugar paste detailing. It's like Great British Bake Off level.
Yes.
The rest of her buffet table is also spectacular. I take particular delight in the 2 tall towers of pastel macaroons.
Yes, please.
It's food porn.
Mm-hmm.
She then welcomes all her guests, which is pretty much everyone in the cast bar Edward and Clara, and takes particular delight in needling Georgiana about said cake. Georgiana decides not to take the bait and instead thanks her for her invite and walks away.
You go, Queen. Also at the party, Captain Frasier and Allison, who have been left alone together again. They start bantering about how cynical he is. Allison declares that there is a beating heart beneath there somewhere and demands to know the name of the girl he longs for. He says he cannot say. Instead, he begins to describe her, quote-unquote, which is so obviously Allison. But she is so oblivious. She tells him that she believes the right person is out there for everyone. Girl, he is standing right next to you. Seriously.
Wake up.
Mr. Colborne, meanwhile, and his niece enter and greet Lady Denham. When introduced to Augusta, she declares his niece a, quote, pretty little thing, and tells Colborne to keep her away from the soldiers. Who else is now terrified that Captain Lennox is going to abduct Augusta a la Wickham?
Me.
Yes.
Very much me.
Yes. Lady Denham mentions Colborne's father. He was not only a dab hand with the old bow and arrow, he won the Silver Arrow 3 years running, but also happened to be an alcoholic. So far, all of his backstory seems depressing as hell. Someone please hug this poor man.
Colborne and Augusta immediately approach their only friend, Charlotte. Augusta tells her she looks nothing like a governess, and that's mostly down to her tits, I think. They look sensational.
Yes.
It's like she's starring in one of those 90s Wonder Bra adverts that made people drive off the road.
Yes.
But anyway, Colonel Lennox then arrives at the party. He immediately beelines over to Colborne and ruins the whole vibe between Hayborn by telling him about his new friendship with Charlotte, which is news to her employer. Colborne looks sick just to be in the same room as Lennox and regrets going to the stupid garden party in the first place. But Charlotte begs him to set his animosity aside for one afternoon for Augusta's sake, so he agrees. Edward arrives at the cottage and abruptly proposes to Clara. She's like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? But she realizes that if she marries him, her son would become the next male heir to the Denham title and in line for the inheritance. Clara's like, but what about Esther? She would still get the bulk of the inheritance because she's not stupid. And Edward's responding smile is just pure sociopath. He plans to make Esther think Babington has abandoned her for not being able to provide him with an heir. It's going to send her crazy, blah, blah, blah. Clara tells him that Esther doesn't deserve that, and she really doesn't.
Who thinks that Clara is going to fuck up those plans?
Please, please,
please. Please, please. Anyway, back at the garden party of doom, Tom is telling Charlotte that Colonel Lennox faced Napoleon at Waterloo, and then the show engages in some more misinformation about the man, calling Napoleon diminutive when he was in fact 5'7", which is actually pretty average height. Anyway, this conveniently leads to Charlotte asking if Captain Carter fought with him. Colonel Lennox immediately dismisses him as just a boy that has not yet been anywhere near a battle. Then the panic that then settles on Charlotte's face is a picture. Whilst Captain Carter takes part in the archery competition, Captain Frasier takes this opportunity to beg Allison not to accept his upcoming proposal. Allison thinks it is because he has suffered from his own heartbreak, but the truth is he sees far more clearly than her. He tells her that she is not the overly refined girl that she pretends to be, and that at heart she is a farmer's daughter. She misinterprets that as an insult and walks off in a miff, which I could see why, quite frankly.
I was like, farmer's daughter, way more of a compliment than refined, poetry-loving crazy bitch.
Oh gosh. Charlotte then finds her and tells her what she's just learned. Allison says the colonel is just misremembering and declares she is not going to let loveless cynics ruin her happiness. Oh my god.
When she involved Georgiana in that, I was like, bitch, you just mad at everyone now. What's Georgiana doing in it?
I just can't deal with her.
Charlotte bumps into Colborne and starts complaining about her delusional sister. And before you know it, they're commiserating in the corner together and looking very adorable with their little smiles.
Yes.
Lady Denham spots them together and remarks to Lennox that he has a rival. She just loves to stir the pot, and I ain't mad about it. At her age, I would be doing the same.
Yes.
So the ladies then engage in a spot of croquet. The things take a turn for the dramatic when Augusta faints in the middle of the course. Turns out, she has over-tightened her stays in an attempt to look more womanly. Ricky's mistake.
Yes.
Charlotte helps loosen them for her so that she can breathe, and they talk about how a gentleman finds Charlotte pretty. Charlotte's little ears perk up. She hopes Augusta's talking about her uncle, but alas, she's talking about Colonel Lennox. She looks kind of bummed, actually.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, that guy.
Time for the cake cutting. Lady Denham recalls how enthusiastic Arthur was to cut her pineapple. God, that just sounds wrong. And offers him the knife. We love a callback. He refuses on account of the sugar boycott. Lady Denham sighs. When will she hear the end of this? Everyone at the party then hands their cake plates back, much to Lady D's annoyance and Esther's amusement. Captain Frasier is moping on the banks of some random-ass river, watching on as Captain Carter rows himself and Allison into the center of it. Carter proposes. In her delight at said proposal, Allison jumps up, loses balance, and falls overboard. It's like something out of a skit, except she can't swim. She begins to drown, and Captain Carter is unable to save her. Luckily for everyone, Captain Frasier comes to the rescue and drags Allison back to shore. She wakes up, realizes her beau did not try to save her, and in fact, he cannot swim. She starts yelling at him for being a lying coward, and then turns on Frasier for not telling her the truth. Girl, he tried.
She yells at him for trying, she yells at him for not trying.
Yeah.
What is it you want?
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's like everybody was trying to tell you, girl, cut and run. No.
Back at the party, Charles Lockhart approaches Georgiana and tells her that her earlier speech contained all the passion he'd been looking for earlier. She suggests he grabs pencil and paper and they sneak off to a private spot for him to sketch her, with booze, because of course.
Yes.
As he quietly draws her, Georgiana begins to open up to him and answers his question from earlier in the episode about what she dreamed of last night. She dreamed of Otis, and I did a dramatic sigh of disappointment. Her previous love. In fact, Otis had introduced her to the sugar boycott, but things ended badly, as you might recall.
Yes.
She got kidnapped. And she now feels reluctant to lower her guard. Understandable, given the kidnap.
Yes.
Charles looks kind of upset when she tells him this and asks why she still dreams of him. Georgiana pointedly responds that she has no one else to dream of, and he does not miss his opportunity.
No.
He takes her hand and leans in for a kiss. But alas, they're interrupted by her chaperones. Miss Hankins. I'm just disappointed in you, Hankins. I feel like you ship it. And then a very disapproving looking Mary. It's like, Mary, calm down. Let her kiss some boys.
Oh, but not the artist. Not the artist. Heaven forfend.
Brace yourselves again, listeners, because Colonel Lennox is about to say something incredibly creepy. Yo, if Colborne wanted to punch him, I wouldn't be mad about it. I'm just saying.
No.
Lady Denham then throws petrol on the flames by antagonizing the two men into her archery competition. It is ridiculous. But hey, the masculinity may be fragile, but the archery is 10 out of 10. Both of them, really good, they're killing it.
Mm-hmm.
Edward Denham then gatecrashes this archery competition to tell his aunt that he has proposed to Clara, which shocks the shit out of Lady D, actually speechless for the first time in her life, and sends Esther running off to yell at Clara.
Clara defends her decision to marry Edward on the grounds that it would be great for her son. He won't be a bastard and can take the Denham name and the Denham money, as Esther so correctly points out. Baby George then starts to cry, and Esther asks why she can't be near him. Clara tells her she's scared to let herself love him, but with the right encouragement from Esther, she is able to breastfeed her son and finally bond with him. Back to the archery contest. Colonel Lennox insists that Charlotte take his turn, and of course she hits the target dead center. Colborne, uncomfortable with the way Lennox is using this as an excuse to rub all over her, asks Charlotte to do him the same honor. She agrees, but this time her aim is terrible and she misses. Someone slap this man. Someone needs to slap the shit out of him. Colborne, oh my God. Colborne finally loses his shit and begins dragging Augusta out of the party. Charlotte tries to stop them leaving, but in a fit, Colborne tells her he forbids her from seeing Colonel Lennox, which naturally pisses Charlotte off. She tells him that while he pays her wages, he does not own her. Colborne then gets in his carriage and drives off, leaving her alone with a very smug-looking Colonel Lennox. The end. Dun, 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 dun.
That was just the worst ending. Smug little Colonel Lennox.
Oh my God. But what an episode. Rita, what did you think? What were your first impressions?
I mean, my first watch, I was left feeling a bit like Charles and Georgiana. Incredibly frustrated.
Yes.
Such a tease. Oh, we got like little dribs and drabs of information about whatever's going on with Lockhart and Colborne's history. And then the almost kiss happened, and then Tom just not dealing with his shit. And I felt like really wound up, and I think that's a testament to how good the episode is.
Yes.
It got me invested. The garden party was like a masterclass in cranking up the dramatic tension. Just a lot of people standing around awkwardly while some string quartet plays in the background.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But I think like on second watch, it was like when I lowered my expectations. I was like, this is good. What about you?
I really enjoyed it. Probably more so on the second time around, which I just did, as a matter of fact. I think that's going to be my habit going forward, is watching it just before we record, because everything is just still so fresh. But this was a great episode in building towards the last two episodes of this season, and getting us to that cliffhanger end, which we all know is coming, because this is Sanditon, and they do this. I thought it was very, very well done. I know we'll get into several of the storylines as we move in further into our discussion. But I thought this was fantastic. Maybe not as good as the last week's episode, but pretty damn close. Mm-hmm.
One of the central questions of this episode for me is this question of the Georgiana's accepting the inheritance that is born completely out of some abhorrent slave trade sugar money. Do you think that by keeping this money, she's a hypocrite?
I think that's a a difficult question
Mm-hmm.
to answer. I kind of figured as much. Thanks for sending that one my way. I think it's a difficult question to answer, for a couple of reasons. First of all, we are talking about, the early-ish 1800s, and we're talking about a young woman who has received money from her Caucasian father after his passing. She's going to need something to live off of because of her situation. She is neither black or white. If we think about this from the perspective of how people thought about it back then, with the whole single drop bullshit, for her, she is literally half and half, but she is only able to be seen as black.
Yeah.
And, that is just going to be the way it is until the day she dies. She's going to need something to live on because she doesn't have anyone else. Although I would argue that, by this point, if she were to say, something, fine, I am just donating all of this towards getting rid of slavery. I'm not taking any of this money. It's going to go towards fighting for the cause. That, Tom and Mary would take her in, that, the families that, have now, held her near and dear to them, the Hankins, even though that would be, kind of horrible.
They're lovely. I love them.
Yeah, and lovely. There would be individuals who would welcome her into their home. But, I'm sure that she is not the type of person who wants to live on charity.
Yeah.
She's going to want to be able to support herself. So, it is a difficult question to answer. It's not a yes or no answer.
Yeah.
If it were, then, she'd do it. And then, she would wind up moving in with the Parkers and, maybe marrying someone someday. But, it's a riddle.
Yeah. And I think I kind of asked this question because it's probably at the heart of Georgiana's conflict this season.
Mm-hmm.
I think throughout this season so far, we've seen her sort of reckoning with where she came from.
Mm-hmm.
And she is a product of this huge, divide in society.
Mm-hmm.
And it must be really hard sort of intellectually to process the fact that she's so against the sugar industry, but it's also where all of her wealth comes from and all of her security.
Yeah.
And how she can survive in this very hostile environment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also fascinating, but also I totally understand how ambivalent she might feel about some of this, because it's she can't change the past really. She is a product of where she came from, and all she can really do with her limited position in society is try and make the future better. And I think the conflict that must exist within her all the time, every time she's reminded of her inheritance, is just intense. And this is not something that we even thought about during season 1. So I really love that the writers have decided to delve deeper into the psychology of that, and you can see she's just constantly conflicted.
Yeah.
And that's a terrible way to live. I think, similarly, I kind of agree. I believe, in a perfect world, she would not keep this money because I think it's abhorrent money. And, I think, should have given the slaves some money. They got freed, but they're now living on this island, probably still in the same labor as before. So, ideally, you would have them have some kind of money from the inheritance, but like, is it Georgiana's responsibility to do that? I think her father should have done that. And at this point, it's kind of too late.
Yeah.
She's on an island thousands of miles away. And I think, given that she is doing all that she can from her position, it's very hard for me to judge her. So I find Lady Dedham doing it incredibly ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Shut up. But I think I do like that Lady Dedham is always sort of challenging Georgiana to stand up for herself and like voice these things inside of her. But also shut up, Lady Dedham.
Yeah. I think that there is I had a thought in my mind and it just flew out of an easy way that the writers could I got it back now. Okay, hey, it's late. That's my excuse. The thing that would easily solve this would be if there is a relative who is able to challenge the will and successfully wins the inheritance, then that takes the money away from Georgiana and she's able to live life the way that she chooses.
On her own terms.
Yeah, on her own terms. That is an easy way to solve this. And I kind of hope that we don't go down that route.
I think that's too easy as well.
Exactly.
This is like far more interesting to see her sort of grapple with. And like one thing that really pissed me off was that conversation they were having with Mary's advice of just being like, keep your head down, be a good person.
Yeah.
I mean, what did you think about it? Because to me, it felt very reminiscent of that, old adage about black people having to work twice as hard.
Yeah. And the other part that, that really bothered me was that, it's like, well, okay, just mind your P's and Q's, be quiet. We don't need an uppity N-word, because, and that is something that persists to this day, especially, with both black men and with black women. But, the what I've seen within the workplace, if you are a black woman and you are strong and you are confident and you are assertive, that can get you kicked out faster than anything because, you can often be seen as being difficult or uppity is another word that is definitely not something that HR would be able to fly with these days.
It's funny how, like, as a white woman, I've never been accused of being uppity. Like, what?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's
funny
like
how that happens.
If you are, well, and I think even for, all women, if you are assertive, then you are oftentimes called a bitch. When a man who is assertive is just, take charge and, all that kind of shit. Well, that happens, with all women, but especially for women of color that have had the whole issue of otherness kind of cloaked around them, forever. It is 10 times worse. And I can only speak from my own experience, as a black woman, but, the intersectionalities of all of the identities can wind up making that oppression feel worse and worse and worse. So anyhow, I think that the show has the opportunity to deal with some of these challenging conversations and concepts. And it's refreshing, especially given the way, society changed following George Floyd's murder and the social justice protests that arose from that. So,
but I think it's interesting that they're having these like really uncomfortable conversations, and they're choosing to have Mary voice some of these. It's just terrible advice. I understand that it's coming from a place where she wants to protect Georgiana, and it is just, I guess, sensible advice given the society that they live in.
Yeah, but it's also infantilizing as well.
Exactly. And I just felt I instantly bristled. I was like, no, let her live her life.
Exactly.
She has earned the right to live under whatever terms she wants.
And make the mistakes, whatever mistakes she's going to make, and deal with the consequences.
Exactly.
It's her life. Damn, girl.
Exactly. And I like that they've chosen, I think it would be very easy to have like Tom be the voice that says all these things, but he's checked out. I think the fact that they've chosen a figure that is, for the most part, beloved by the fandom, and who has always been quite supportive of Charlotte, to give advice coming from a place of understanding as a white lady. Like, her advice is coming from like such a terribly myopic place where she doesn't really like comprehend what she is saying. So I just love the nuances in this as well, because so often the storytelling on the show is a bit over blown, and kind of like, look at the Clara and Edward storylines, like, but with this they've really handled it so well. So yay.
Yeah. And if Tom had been the one to offer this advice, I would be ready to burn the house down, because Tom just needs to shut his mouth and behave himself and just not leave the house ever again. Period. He came on screen, and I swear, Rita, I just wanted to punch him. I just wanted to punch him in the face.
It's funny because previously he was my least favorite, but now it's Colonel Lennox. Every time Colonel Lennox was on screen, I was like, you better watch yourself. If I catch you in these streets, it's down.
Oh, God. Yeah. Colonel Lennox, you posed the question, has Colonel Lennox gone full Bond villain? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's got everybody snowed under to, what he's putting down. Maybe Charlotte is picking up on it, but I don't know anymore. He is a piece of work.
I kind of admire that they took their time getting him to this point as well, because I think the first few episodes he seemed pretty harmless, but now I'm like, he is the devil, and we must flush him out of this society. The way he was talking about Augusta in particular made me so uncomfortable. I was like, this is some Wiccan bullshit. Is he gonna try and get to Augusta to fuck with Colborne? And is Augusta stupid enough to fall for it? Potentially, I don't know. I'm scared. There's a whole possibility in season 3.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Do you think he was implying that Lucy loved him and not her husband? Because that would upset me.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what is at the heart of this whole thing, is that, Lucy was kind of torn between these two, and maybe if not torn, then either both of them were rivals for her hand, and for some reason Colborne wound up marrying her.
Is it because Colborne's not a piece of shit? Maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But he is just so evil, and I agree. The way that they introduced his character, I was just kind of thinking, oh God, what a nuisance. What a nuisance.
I thought he was this season's Leo. I was like...
Yeah! It's like, okay, nuisance. But then it's like, oh shit, no, you are Snidely Whiplash, and no, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. And, the whole thing all balled up in this nasty old metal-wearing grandiose dude.
He's just the worst. He's even got me feeling sorry for Tom. When Tom was like, can you please pay some bills? And he was like, oh, no. I wanted to... how dare you make me feel bad for Tom, firstly.
Yeah, I will have to say that, when Tom, confronted him about the debts, and as soon as Lennox basically said, yo, people with debts shouldn't throw stones at other people with debts. I was basically just going, yeah, that's what you get, Tom. That's what you get for going in there and throwing those dice and winding up being conned just as hard can be.
But I think, he was preyed upon. So
absolutely.
But it's obviously Tom, this is kind of your fault. But then also, when someone is obviously some kind of weird gambling addict, like Tom is, and I think he's a gambling addict in the sense that he's constantly trying to get rich quick. When they're preyed upon like that, I think Lennox just saw an easy mark and took it.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So it's shame on you, Lennox.
You know something? Sanditon is full of sociopaths. Just saying. It's crawling with them.
I'm sorry, but when Esther, in episode 1, season 1, Esther was like, this place sucks. Everyone was like, oh, this bitch crazy, but she is correct.
She's totally correct.
Even Lady Denham is a sociopath.
Yes. It's crawling with sociopaths.
What is it? The sea air just brings out the worst in people? What's happening?
There's full-on
it's the ass
going
melt
on.
Or something, I don't know.
Oh, my lord.
Okay, so storylines. Let's dive on deep into this clusterfuck of an episode.
Oh my god, yeah. We have 2 love triangles.
Oh, it's so much. Let's start with the Charlotte one.
Yes.
Because she is the main character.
Yes.
Charlotte Colborne Lennox. I'm sort of at the point now where I need the show to make Charlotte less coy about her. How she feels about Lennox. They kept going oh, Charlotte, do you like him? And then they just go away. It's come on. She isn't interested in him.
No.
She's a bit polite to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he doesn't interest her, as Colborne does.
Exactly.
And, I really want her to stop trying to be polite and, conciliatory and, let's work this out and blah, blah, blah. It's no, Charlotte, put your foot down.
Yeah, and I find it really bizarre because she's usually pretty forthright. Remember all the time she screamed at Sydney in season 1?
Yes.
R.I.P. Sydney.
Yeah.
So I find her, inability to draw boundaries with this guy that is basically stalking her kind of out of character. I feel like she would have just been yo, dude, I'm a governess now. Leave me alone.
And she did lay down some pretty solid hints around that fact, but I think maybe the air balloon thing, it just all went to her head or something.
The altitude fucked her up. Yes. And she does she keeps yelling at Colborne. She's telling him everything she thinks and feels, but with Lennox, she's just reverts to being completely passive. It's the most frustrating thing to watch.
I am hoping that situation changes, and if we get done with this, I am going to watch this thing before I go to bed tonight. Because I can't wait to find out what is going to happen.
What did you think of her interactions with Colborne this episode? Because they were so cute.
It was so adorable. And, I mean, I could instantly see them together.
Yeah.
Instantly. You know, it was like, okay, yep, there it is. If I wasn't convinced last week, which I think I would have to have been blind and deaf not to have picked up on it, this week was pretty much, all right, hey, Born.
They were so cute. Like,
they were really adorable.
Looking at each other and smiling, and I was like, sold. I also love that everyone else at that party picked up on the vibe.
Yes. I was like, oh, you have a rival.
Across the field from them was like, yeah, that's happening.
It's like,
I love when he walked into the party and everyone's like, who's that? And Charlotte's like, oh, that's Mr. Colborne. Georgiana just goes,
that is Mr. Colborne?
Georgiana knew. She's
oh, Georgiana is on top of that. She's like, oh, girl, you go get that. You go get that.
I'm also getting frustrated with Colborne as well because he sort of hints around what's going on with the Lennox, but he won't just tell her.
Just tell her.
I think like if you just told her, she would be very understanding and stop hanging out with Lennox.
Yeah, but he's trying to do the bigger man bullshit, you know, which is like, I'm not going to stoop to their level of trying to get your attention by, you know, blah, blah, blah. You're like,
that's some Mr. Darcy bullshit. It's like,
exactly.
Just tell Lizzie everything about him. He tried to abduct your sister.
Yep.
I mean, it makes sense for him because he's very guarded. He's like the most closed off person ever.
Yeah. So that needs to change fast. And I'm hoping that it's not one of the Cliffies that we wind up getting stuck with in the 6th episode.
I need to know the whole fucking backstory.
Yeah.
Like, this is the most frustrating thing I've ever seen. And I keep trying to guess it. And it's like, I can't. Anyway.
Well, you know, and I think, you know, as we've talked about, you know, we're being influenced by all of the various different period dramas that we've watched over the years, and the ones that, you know, the show has clearly taken bits and bobs from. And so, you know, we're awaiting the mystery of the crazy woman living in the tower, you know, kind of thing.
Oh my God. Is she going to bite someone's neck as well?
Oh God. So yeah, let's not have this continue too far. We need to know what's going on.
Okay, so something that actually came to a conclusion-ish.
Praise
Allison,
the Lord.
Allison and her boys.
Now we get to see how Frasier winds up getting into her good graces. Because, you know, for some reason, she's pissed off at him for not telling her that Carter was scamming her. I mean, at least if she'd found out that Frasier had been the one to provide him the poetry, etc., then she would probably, she would have had a reason to get pissed off at him.
Yeah.
But at this point, it's
scam
just
me, bitch.
Yeah,
you helped him.
You know, at this point, it's just like, well, you didn't tell me the truth. Nah, I'm mad at you. No, she needs to be mad at him for something with more substance.
I mean, I think she's hurt because she like considers him a friend, but I resent how she spoke to him. Like,
oh, I do too.
5 minutes ago, he was warning her. And she just ignored it. Like, she just picks and chooses the things that annoy her.
Yeah.
It's like, there's no consistency here. And I think she still needs some maturing in that respect. Because
Lord, yes. And you know something?
Yeah.
You know something? The man just saved your damn life.
Exactly. At no point was she like, thank you.
He just saved your damn life. Okay?
Also, you can't swim. What the fuck are you doing standing up on a boat?
Yes.
It's so stupid. Just the whole thing, I was just like, I was also like kind of annoyed. Okay, here's the thing. I was kind of annoyed when she called Captain Carter a coward for not diving in to save her when she knows he can't swim. Like, he's not... That is unfair. It's, like, I just don't like this whole idea that to prove your love, you have to sacrifice your fucking life.
Yeah.
It's just a ridiculously high-strung, crazy ideal. Like, come on.
Yeah.
He was scared.
Yeah. Now, she may have been thinking, since, she doesn't know how to swim, and she was under the impression that he had swum and saved, 50 people out of a river, that, if something happened, he would be able to take care of her.
Why is he getting on the boat?
Still, it's just stupid.
It's just like such a juvenile idea of like what heroism is as well. Like people, like even if he was a hero on the battlefield that could swim, he could have frozen up out of panic. Like,
yeah.
I just, this whole idea that he's like not worthy of her because he didn't dive in and risk his life to save her is some bullshit as well.
Well,
like
she is 12.
This whole thing, 12. I was like, Allison, this is not very likable of you. Shut up.
It's like, you need to go sit in a corner for a little while. Okay?
It's like, don't make me feel bad for Captain Carter who has been lying to you. Like, and this whole thing about him, like, oh, well, he's been in love before, so he can't possibly love her the most. I was just like, that's ridiculous. Loads of people date and then meet the person they propose to.
Mm-hmm. Like, exactly. First love does not mean that you can't have true love after that.
Exactly.
I think
I was sort of like, Fraser, you're buying into some Allison bullshit with the idea that, like, because he's been in love before, he can't fall in love with Allison, truly. I was just like, honestly, this is making me think Fraser and Allison are meant for each other, and that Carter needs to meet a nice, sensible girl that will not scream at him. But I did really like the line Fraser had about Allison being a farmer's daughter that plays at being a refined, poetry-loving, sophisticated woman. I was like, oh, this is not something I had really picked up on. I feel like he's onto something there because there's definitely an element of like role-playing, romantic ideals she's read in books in her relationship with Carter. Yeah. And I do think that's true. But I also was like, Fraser, this is the pot calling the kettle black. I think he has all these same exact romantic ideas. Yeah. And he, like, reads his little poetry, and he longs for this girl he can't have, and he won't ever just tell her how he's feeling. He'll just sit in the corner and pine. I just, like, honestly, if you two just, like, were sat in a room and just talked honestly about how you were feeling, you would realise you two just need to get married and leave me alone because this is too dramatic.
It's like, just get a room, okay?
Yeah, I mean, come on. Like nobody else on this show is on that level of drama.
Oh, God. What a mess.
Yeah.
Ugh. Well, how about we talk about the ship that we want to set sail right the fuck now?
My favies, Georgiana and Charles.
Yes. I know when I was watching the show, I sent you a voice text. And I said, Charles Lockhart needs to stop that with his eyes.
Oh my god.
Holy crap.
Oh my god. All those shots of him sketching her, I was like,
yes.
oh.
Yeah, sketching her and then looking up at her with those crystalline blue-green eyes. It was like, okay, you stop that. Close them things. Close them peepers right now. Because what you're doing right now is illegal.
And then like the floppy hair over the eyes.
Oh my lord. Yeah. I don't even care about his ridiculous mutton chops anymore.
I can't see them. All I see is eyes.
I just don't care anymore. I will say that I'll ask you this question. Okay. Do you think that they have done enough for her character to have flipped from the I don't want anything to do with you to I'm about to kiss the stuffing out of you? Do you think that they've done a good enough job in making that arc?
I think, no, this is just my interpretation, but she always liked him. Even in that first episode, you could pick up on the vibe that, because she was always saying to Allison, remain coy, remain aloof, and that was her whole vibe whenever she was around Charles at first. So I thought that was her just giving us a little insight into how she planned to operate with Charles, which was just to play it absolutely cold. And she's only doing that because she's interested. You could tell in the way she was like looking at him sometimes. She like desperately wanted him to notice her, and like when there was that scene earlier in the season where he comes up and asks her how her day is, and she's like, terrible for seeing you, and he's like, okay, bye, and she looks kind of disappointed that he's not arguing with her. I get the whole vibe that she's just trying to get a reaction out of him. It's very Esther and Babington in that respect.
Yeah.
So, like, while I do think that, like, they could have done a bit more, they are, like, the C plot, so...
True enough.
I was like, I'll take it. Yeah. I just love their scenes. I love the scene when he was trying to sketch her in the episode, and he was just like, "No, this is terrible." Dramatic flounce.
Yes.
It's just fun because she was so stiff, and he was like at his absolute most arty.
Yes.
They're just a fun contrast, and they spark off each other. It's always so witty and like light. Like, it doesn't have the same high drama of the other, like the Allison Frasier of it all. Or even the Charlotte Colborne is like much heavier in its material. Like, you just got these two people who have fun together, and I enjoy watching them. And I love that Miss Hankins is always like secretly watching them.
Yes. Oh gosh. They're just adorable.
I wish they would kiss, though. Damn it! Just let them kiss.
Well, they're getting there.
When he reached out and grabbed her hand. Oh,
I know.
Did you die?
And she was like, "All right, here, let's go, let's go." Oh yeah. Oh no, honey, I am here for it, and we'll be watching the next episode with bated breath.
If there's a kiss, I want spoilers. Tell me to
You want spoilers?
Yeah, just tell me if they kiss, because I need to like not scream when it happens. I have neighbours.
Okay.
I can't be screaming.
Okay.
That would be bad.
Well, I'll be happy to scream because my neighbours are very loud. So
it's what they deserve.
Exactly.
So one thing we touched on earlier was the dynamic between Georgiana and Lady Denham, and I thought we could talk about that some more, because we spoke about the morality of her keeping the money, but what's interesting about this dynamic is there's there's like a power struggle for social supremacy going on in between them. Like Lady Denham, she has the title and the show's social standing and the gigantic hat. And then Georgiana comes in with all this money and
she's got the moral standing. You know.
Exactly. It grinds Lady Denham's gears.
Yes.
Because and also the sugar boycott is such a palpable show that Georgiana is making gains and becoming more influential in that society. And I love watching them sort of spar.
Yes.
Their scenes are always so much fun and like seeing like who's winning the competition at the moment.
Yes.
I hope these actresses get to work together a lot more because it's just...
they're delightful.
They're just like complete opposites, and I love them both. And I love that Georgiana is like trying to shake everything up, and Lady Denham is like, no, we just need to keep things the way they are. Yeah. Let's have this stupid archery competition I've had for 70 years.
At the annual tea party that, we skipped last year because whatever.
Pineapples were in season, so.
Now, Clara and Esther.
Yeah. You really loved their scene, you said earlier.
I did. I thought that was a really, really lovely scene where, Clara, who is a schemer amongst schemers, and as we've discussed before, has her own seriously powerful sociopathic chops.
Oh, God.
She had a real moment with Esther. And I honestly think that it is that moment and what Esther has been able to do for her in helping her begin to bond with little George that is going to be Edward's undoing.
Oh, we can only hope.
I can only hope, because I think that Clara is going to say, Esther, I'm sorry. Your brother is still a dick. And here's why. I'm going to do you a solid because you did me a solid.
I think it would make a lot of sense for her to be like, okay, we're married. Now I can tell Esther the truth.
Exactly.
Ding ding.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, I got what I needed from you. Now, I want to put your ass back out on the street.
Yeah.
God.
What occurred to me this episode was they've both had kind of a similar upbringing in terms of like terrible home lives with predators. And although, Clara's was definitely a lot more bleak.
Yeah.
They must relate to each other on some kind of basic human level of knowing what it's like to be under someone else's power.
Yeah.
And Esther's managed to break free at the end of season 1. And I hope that Clara, like, through her relationship with Esther and her son, is able to find some semblance of normality and love and stop just purely, like, I think, like, with Clara's different from Edward. She's a sociopath, but I think she was made one because she's so desperate to survive and she has to claw her way up.
Edward is just Edward's just a
already
dick.
Like rich white man. Rich question mark, but he's titled. He's got a huge estate. Are we really feeling sorry for him? Like,
even though he has zero money, he still has all of the stuff that usually goes along with that. Does he, now here's the question, does he still have the estate?
He must do.
Was he, Lady D has said that she has disinherited him. Would that go so far as cover the estate itself?
I think maybe it's explained better in the book, but the book it's like 70 pages. But
right.
She had 2 husbands. Her first one was incredibly wealthy, and the second one she married for a title, the Denham title. So the title then passed on from her husband to Edward. He got the title, but he doesn't have any money.
Right.
she has money from her first husband that is independent of, like, any entail. So they're trying to get out that inheritance. But it's not connected to the title. So he has the title anyway, and...
So here's the deal. If the money isn't attached to the title or the denim name or any of that,
that's why it's free for her to do as she wishes. That's why she's able to pass it on to Esther if she wants.
Right. Then why are they talking about how if they marry, they're going to be able to gain not only the title, but have some money that goes along with that to help them with the child rearing and all that other kind of stuff? Because it sounds like to me that, they are expecting to get paid.
I think they assume that Lady Denham would be like, I'm going to recognize this child, this totally innocent, non-scheming child. So if she endows that child with some money and like some independent wealth, they can skim a little off the top and be like, because they would be the ones that would have to
manage
raise him and house him and educate him so they can,
Okay. All right. I'm with you now.
But it's not very clear in the writing. You have a good point.
No, it isn't. I honestly think that Clara is going to marry him, get her son's future secured, and then
that's what
kick Edward to the curb. I'm really hoping that is what happens, because I need to be done with that dick.
I totally get why Clara would accept this proposal, by the way. Like, I know that, like, she's, like, kind of friends with Esther now, but it would give her and her child legitimacy.
Yes.
So, like, you'd be stupid not to, no matter how much of a piece of shit Edward is. You don't really have to have anything to do with him. Just accept the marriage proposal and then be like, bye!
Yeah.
I found Edward's monologue to her, where he was like explaining his plans for them, like, and the music started playing from like season 1, and the way because he was talking to her the way he used to talk to Esther.
Yeah.
And it's like really manipulative, sugary bullshit.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is creepy. I'm having flashbacks of him like brushing his sister's hair.
I mean, you know that the actor who's playing that role is having the time of his bloody life. I mean, talk about a fun character to play, but I would have to go home and like have an exorcism every night. Just
3 showers isn't going to cut it. You're going to want like full
cleanse this evil off of me. Yes.
Do some like burn some sage, do a ritual. Yeah.
Yes.
Don't you think his plan, though, is a bit stupid? Because...
Oh, definitely.
I mean, at a certain point, isn't Badminton just gonna, like, show up, like, go, hey, where's my wife? I haven't had her.
Thank you. I was like, I've sent you 20, 30 letters.
She's gonna be like, I haven't got them. Okay.
I was like, I haven't gotten any letters. Well...
Oh, my God.
Let's go talk to the footmen. Who,
Michelle,
is going to roll over.
This is the plot line for The Notebook, where the letters don't arrive.
Oh, God.
Sounds like another...
Honestly, did they just put a whole bunch of books into a bag, and then they just start, okay, we're going to take the first 10, and that's going to be what we build this thing on.
What's the name of that game where you just, like, take random words and insert it into sentences?
Oh, God.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right?
I do.
It feels a bit like that, where they just went like, The Sound of Music, The Notebook, Shane.
Oh, Pride and Prejudice, of course. Oh, yeah.
Like they just
or basically they said, okay, the entire Austen catalog is one. That's one book. We can throw the rest in there.
So where is Lady Susan? Where is she? Why isn't she back? Favourite scenes?
Oh, for God's sake. I think the scene, obviously, with Georgiana and Charles. when he is sketching her after he discovers her passion. I love that scene because, I'm a sucker for that kind of stolen romance kind of thing. Plus, it's just a whole bunch of pretty. Mm-hmm. And what else? I love the little scenes that we have with Colborne and Charlotte. As they're getting a little closer. I thought that the scene with Charlotte and Augusta, when Charlotte was fixing her stays, I thought that was really sweet.
I love any scene between Augusta and Charlotte. Mm-hmm. I think that they have like a really fun friendship.
Yeah.
And like Augusta's starting to open up to her, like that little bit where she was like nervous about entering society, and then covering it up by saying she does badly. It's her governess's fault. And Charlotte's just really good-natured about it, and she's like, oh, okay. That whole scene was really cute.
Yeah.
And I loved when Leo joined in with the hog.
Yes.
They're like a cute little family. I love it.
Yeah. And the scene where Charlotte is teaching Augusta to dance.
Yeah.
And then, little Leo joins in, and we see Colborne kind of around the corner, peeking in and smiling. So sweet.
Oh, God.
Future life.
I was taken out to the Sound of Music again, so I was just like, oh God, if he joins in, I'm gonna die. My other favourite scene was actually Georgiana's speech at the garden party. I thought that was really well done because I expected it to be some like overwrought monologue. Where you usually get no, Lady Denham, it is wrong.
Yes.
I think it was like a really great moment because it wasn't that dramatic.
Yeah.
It was just like she opened up to people and expressed her own conflict with the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And by doing that, she managed to move people around her to act.
Yes.
And I think in a lesser show, she would have been much more hyperbolic. Yes. And I think the writing was great, and the acting by Crystal Clark, again, was fantastic. Mm-hmm. And it ended up being a much more powerful scene for its just complete simplicity. And and it made the moment where Charles was like, that's the passion I want to see, like less of a cliche for me, because otherwise it would have been like, oh, gross.
Yeah, totally agree. Absolutely.
Anyway,
least
favourite. I have an answer.
Go for it.
The whole scenario where Allison fell in the boat was laughably bad. Just illogically filmed. Very hard to follow. Honestly, kind of just confusing because it kept cutting away and you were like, what happened while we weren't there? I don't think Frasier was anywhere near close enough to actually reach Allison in time to save her. Like, he was like, where was that?
They were out in the middle of the lake.
But we've never seen that place before, and then he was standing on where was it in relation to the party? Why were they in that boat when they said they were going for a walk? Then two people that can't swim were just casually in this really
it's like,
in
this little rickety boat are going to get into this lake or river or whatever it was of questionable depth. And let's go for a rowboat ride.
Weird.
No. It was
she
stupid.
Stood up. She's so excited, but if you can't swim, you wouldn't do that, would you?
You're not going to stand up in a boat like that. No.
And then, of course, she starts drowning. And then he's just, flapping oars at her. The whole thing was ridiculous. And then it cut away. She's like, oh, is she going to drown?
And
no,
like,
we're 20 minutes into the episode. That's not going to happen. And then suddenly we're back there after watching some more nonsense at the garden party.
Yes.
And then Fraser's, just there? And you were like, what? What happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
Logically, I know that it must be a very difficult scene to film because the safety of the actors, it's a rowboat, it's out in actual nature, it must be hard.
Yeah.
But it was supposed to be the super dramatic moment, and it pissed me off. I was like, this is bad. This is done.
Yeah, I mean, it did not evoke the, oh my God, that I'm sure that they were going for. You know, it was a, seriously? Seriously, Queen? I don't think so. Yeah.
I mean, there's no way Frasier could have spotted her drown, taken all of his shit off, swam out there and saved her, took her back, and then Carter's still in his little rowboat, like, what's happening?
Bullshit.
And we didn't even see him try to, like, resuscitate her or anything. It was just the most confused. It was just like,
she's just lying there, and all of a sudden starts coughing.
She's just there, and then oh look, Frasier's next to me, and then it was just so confusing. What were they thinking?
It was not well done.
Okay.
Not well done.
Let's move on to something that brings me joy. The costumes.
Yes, please. Yes. Charlotte's dress, just absolutely beautiful. That décolletage.
Oh my
Holy
God.
cow. Yet the girls were out.
When Augusta was like, you do not look like a governess, I was like, you look like you're a stripper right now, because they are out.
I mean, it was like, oh, damn. Like, you sure as hell don't look like my governess right now. I mean, we are not shaming at all.
No, I love some movies, but that
not
was
at all.
Really too much.
Yes.
I don't know, man.
It was just, it was a lot. I haven't looked to see if the other characters had dresses that were that low.
No.
I think that yeah. I mean, Georgiana, she was demonstrating a little bit, but
it seemed still like appropriate for.
Yeah.
What I really loved all the choices they made this episode, like Augusta's like dark blue dress,
yes,
that she wore that looked ever so slightly off. Like it just seemed way too mature and sophisticated for such a young girl. I thought that was like perfect costume design, because obviously they would have made it for the actress. Yeah,
and it was clear that what she was wearing was something that would have been worn more for an evening event. Yeah. The styling was just old enough so that it would have been obvious that it was not, at the peak of fashion.
Yeah. The material was just so heavy, For like a day dress, it was crazy.
That was beautiful. I thought the bonnets. I thought that Charlotte's bonnet was just gorgeous.
I'm obsessed with that bonnet. Yeah, and I just love just all of the bonnets in the background as well. Like sometimes I'd be distracted with some background actress's hat. Just so many hats, and I love that because you could tell it was a really hot day, and the people genuinely need those hats.
It's like, otherwise I'm going to bake.
They would have been burnt to a crisp.
Yes.
I also loved like Colborne's top hat, and then his discomfort at wearing it, and he takes it off at the first opportunity. It was just the perfect Colborne energy. Yeah,
loved it. Oh god!
And that Georgiana wasn't wearing a hat because she's the rebel now. She's like,
exactly. She's like, I'm done with my bonnets,
but I'm not enough melanin. Like this is fine.
I'm good. I'm done with those bonnets. I'm about to just become a bohemian. With my man.
Oh, they're going to be such a power couple. I love them.
Aren't they though? Damn.
Sanditon will never see such a power couple again.
Nope.
Okay.
Let's see. Performer of the episode?
For me, it was again Crystal Clark as Georgiana.
Yep. She was mine too.
Yeah, she was. I think this was like a really good episode for Georgiana. She went from like very stiff to emotionally vulnerable in like the span of one episode, so it was like a perfect Georgiana episode.
Yeah.
Though, of course, like, want to shout out Charlotte Spencer, who plays Esther. I thought she had really great moments.
Yes.
But the Georgiana arc is 10 out of 10. God tier levels.
Yeah. She's doing fantastic work.
Okay. How many Antigua Black pineapples out of 5?
4.75.
Oh my god. I'm choking because that's impossible.
4.75. Leaving a little slice out of it.
I think I'm just going to round up to 5. You know. Make it nice and easy.
I'll save my little quarter for a time when I need to slap a little extra on.
Okay. So, time for Postcards from Sanditon.
Wave effect. Wave
bad
effect.
Waves are back. Okay. First, Postcards said, "Hi, Michelle and Rita. Can't believe you're 4 episodes in season 2. Will soon be coming to an end. It's been great. Can't wait for season 3. Takes when time comes, of course."
Yes.
I think season 2 just keeps getting better and better, like fine wine. Even with age and multiple rewatches, I appreciate this season more and more. Episode 4 is no exception to this. I suggest watching with wine. That also helps, by the way.
Yeah, that would probably be a good thing to add.
Okay. This episode has several sweet moments between the Colborne family and Charlotte. When Mr. Colborne watches Charlotte teaching the girls to dance, and when he says to Charlotte that my dread of the occasion has somewhat lessened. Oh,
yes!
heart swooned right there. And their lingering looks to each other are fire. I love the attention to detail in that scene. The music when Colborne enters the room in that scene is superb and placed so well. When Charlotte is helping Augusta with her dress and Leo hugs Augusta and says, "This is my mother's dress, so in a way it's like I'm hugging her, isn't it?" Oh, beautiful. The scene makes me cry every single time I watch it. At the garden party, the look and smile Charlotte and Colborne shares as she says she thought she was only to instruct the girls, not him, makes me melt. Their chemistry is fire. I can't help but grin so widely that my face hurts. Another sweet, tender moment includes when Captain Frasier divulges his feelings to Allison in a veiled way. She is a rare creature indeed, delicate yet strong, guileless yet wise. In truth, I'm quite undone in her company.
Yes.
I swoon and at the same time yell at the TV for Allison to wake up. Also, 2 powerhouse performances this episode. Charlotte Spencer as Esther does the funny and feeling so well. Love the Cain and Abel line to Reverend Hankins and the depth that she shows while speaking to Clara about George, saying if he were mine, I would never let him go. Wow, it's just amazing. If Charlotte Spencer does not get a BAFTA nomination for her portrayal of Esther, that would be a crime. For me, the queen of the episode is Crystal Clark as Georgiana. She shows such a deep range of emotions in one episode for her character when she starts by saying to Mary, "You are suggesting the fault lies with me. Were I white and a man, who would question my legitimacy?" It's such an impactful statement and Crystal delivers it perfectly. Then I love that juicy moment when Georgiana says to Charlotte, "This is Mr. Colborne." Oh yes. And then her speech about the sugar boycott to Lady Denham. Even the huge range of emotions she shows to Charles, telling him off to almost kissing him. I mean, wow. Crystal is so talented, and again, if she doesn't get a BAFTA nomination or win an Oscar someday, then that will be a great shame. Can't wait to hear what you think about episode 5. Until next week, best, Eve.
Thank you, Eve.
Thanks, Eve. And now I want to watch episode 5. Damn it.
Yes. Our next postcard starts off, "Hi, Michelle and Rita. Oh, I am just loving your podcast. I listened to some of your poldark podcasts, but was always out of sync with the episodes podcasts. This time I've watched Sanditon both seasons and am now doing a rewatch along with your podcast. It's a delight to return to season 2 again, and you two crack me up with your take on things and your musings about what will happen when I know the ending. Oh. I was so upset with the ending of season 1, I wasn't sure I'd even want to watch season 2, but I'm loving this season. I'm completely on board the SS Hayborn. The last few episodes are pure Austen angsty romance. And let me just say that there's some great waistcoat porn coming up.
I'm so excited!
Yes! Thank you! A few quick observations. Captain Lennox. I always imagined him with a curling mustache looking like Dastardly Whiplash. He's such an ass. Like, yes! Alexander, this man needs therapy, and Charlotte is there to be his therapist. And he looks so fine in his waistcoat and boots. Oh, yes. Charlotte, I can't get past the fact she looks like she's had the first Regency-era breast enhancement. God. But her character is lovely, and Rose Williams' acting is sublime.
I mean, her boobs were there in season 1. They were like popping in some of those ball gowns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Allison, the ultimate romantic ninny. Lady Denham, I love her. Oh my god, the snark that comes out of her. She is my spirit animal.
I too love cake, Lady Denham.
Yes, same here. And macarons. Yes, please. Just keep them coming. Tom Parker, what an nincompoop. Yep. That's all for now. I'm going to delve into some wonderful Hayborn fanfic on AO3 and dream of Sanditon. Keep up the great work. Susan, although Londonista59 is my preferred handle. Hi, Susan!
Hi!
Nice to see you!
Oh my god. It's been years. We're so old. Okay.
Oh god.
Next one said, ladies, can I say I just love listening to your podcast? Firstly, the Bridgerton series, and now Sanditon. I love your enthusiasm, squealing and shouting, and your take on the storytelling, not to mention the occasional history lesson. Thanks, Rita. I cringe. I laugh out so many times that I almost need to listen in secret. One of the things I do enjoy is waiting to hear the song choice of the podcast. The beautiful balloon song last week brought back fabulous memories of school choir. And I thought it was a gorgeous choice, but I'm waiting to hear another song which will succeed the awesomeness of Lick It from Bridgerton's episode where Kate and Anthony finally get it on. This made me choke on my coffee at work, and I had to try and explain what I was listening to. Keep up the great work, and I thank you for the joy you bring. Ciao, Maria from Perth, Western Australia.
Oh,
thank you, Maria.
Thank you so much. Oh God, I've got tears in my eyes from laughing. Hello from Braidwood.
I hate when people say this because now I have to come up with something fabulous for the last song.
Hello from Braidwood, country, New South Wales, Australia. Your podcast is so much fun, and every episode makes me laugh out loud. I especially wanted to say that I really look forward to the song at the end of each episode. The My Beautiful Balloon was perfect, but Jesse's girl at the end of the second episode was inspired. Yes. I totally agree that episode 3 was joyful because of the waistcoats and floppy hair. Sigh. Love your work. Can't wait for the next episode. Cheers, Karen. Thanks, Karen.
Time to read the 205 description.
Yes.
Brace yourself because it's a bonkers one. Go.
Lennox and Colborne's rivalry over Charlotte comes to a head. Georgiana makes a decision that will impact her future. Edward's manipulation of Esther takes a dark turn. Allison realizes what she has been missing.
Duh, Allison. Duh.
For real.
I'm very excited about Lennox and Colborne maybe fighting to the death for Charlotte's hand.
This episode I think is gonna be fire. I'm looking forward to all of these things, although
not the Edward bit. That sounds terrible.
the Lennox and Colborne rivalry. I want to know exactly just what the hell is going on.
Are
with
they going to explain it, or are they just going to fight?
I hope so. I hope so.
Charlotte, I'd be like, okay, before this goes any further, we're all going to sit down and you're going to tell me what happened.
So that I can truly understand why you two are doing all of this crap. Okay? Georgiana, of course, I'm obviously thinking that she is going to succumb to Charles's charms.
Oh,
yeah, thank you. And, that it's going to wind up having an impact.
Mary is going to absolutely lose her shit at her.
She is going to go bananas. I think Miss Hankins is silently rooting these two on.
That's why I love Miss Hankins.
Exactly.
Miss Hankins is like, no, I love these naked drawings. I was like, oh, Queen.
Yes.
That's some Queen shit, Miss Hankins. Oh my God. We didn't talk. Miss Hankins asking about where Edward was. I'm going to write an essay entitled Why Miss Hankins is the Best Character in Sanditon, and it's just going to be...
I can't wait to read that.
It's going to be epic.
Oh, man. Okay, so what are you looking forward to? What are you looking forward to?
Miss Hankins.
Yes.
I want to know what the fuck's going on with Lennox and Colborne. I can't stand not knowing. You know me. Yeah. I need information. I don't want to see Edward manipulate Esther. That's terrible.
No.
The last episode made me really annoyed with Allison, so we'd like them to maybe rehabilitate her somewhat so that when she realizes Frasier likes her, she doesn't act like a dick about it. That would be my dream. She isn't like, oh, ew.
Ew, him? Oh my God, yeah. There will need to be some slapping if that's the case. But,
Allison, please do the right thing and look after my baby Frasier.
Yes.
That's all I need.
He needs someone he needs someone to rub some ointment into that scar,
I need a backstory for that scar as well. I'm assuming Hidesoa.
Yeah.
That would be...
That would be great. And, that would explain why he's so pissed off at Carter. It's like, dude, you were not there. I shed blood there. Okay? Shut the hell up.
Why are people only ever scarred in like a sexy face scar way? The same thing happened in
See also poldark. Yes.
It's like you have no other bodily injuries, just your
except
face.
For a rakish, sexy scar on your face.
Didn't the scar keep moving around as well?
Oh, God. God, that whole scar situation, the difference between series 1 and 2, although I think I remember hearing something about how the series 1 scar was referred to like dripping mascara, yeah, or something like that, which I was like, it does not look like mascara, come on now.
Where are people applying mascara? That's what it looks
Seriously. What, did he get drunk and he just kind of down the side of his face?
Yeah. No,
gosh. But we digress.
We have. We always end up talking about poldark somehow.
Somehow.
That's all from us this week. You might be thankful for that. We'll be back discussing episode 5. Oh my God, the penultimate episode.
I know.
But in the meantime, please follow us on Twitter and Instagram for updates. You can see my weekly fashion posts, which are fabs.
Yes.
And we're in the Books Network. You can also email us if you want to be read out in our Postcards feature. And please email us at inthebooksnetwork@gmail.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with a friend and give us a rate and review.
Yes, please.
Thank you so much. See you next week.
Bye-bye. Bye, guys.